Brian, you've known me for 20 years now, and you have known that one of my character flaws that people would be surprised, and yes, I'm admitting to a character flaw, but one of my character flaws that people would be surprised about is I try not to be confrontational with people until I'm left with no choice. And another of my flaws is, as Jim Hurd remarked to Jim Ross one time, concerning me and the Midnight Express, I haven't seen such loyalty since Korea.
It's true. I will verify what you said is true, though.
All right. So how much time we got in the rest of this drive-through?
We have a little over 20 minutes.
Okay, well, this is an essay question, so keep track of me. If we go long, we go long. But here's the reason why Tim Horner, and I was saving a lot of this for the book, although I've told the story in some detail other places. But here's the reason why Tim Horner was involved in Smoky Mountain Wrestling to begin with. Because after I had met Rick Rubin, and after I had ascertained that he was interested in potentially being involved in backing an old-time wrestling territory because he was as sick and tired as a wrestling fan and fed up with corporate wrestling and the things, the cartoon stuff WWF was doing in the late 80s and 1990 and the fact that WCW, because Flair, and I was told by Cat Collins, who introduced us, that me and Ric Flair were his two favorite wrestling personalities, Rubens. And that's the two people he wanted to meet when he came to the Atlanta Omni one day in 1989 to the matches when he was in Atlanta for record business. And that's where we met, and we stayed in touch. And simultaneously, I was so miserable working for WCW that when me and the Midnight Express were in the car on the way to matches, other places, I would look to pass the time, if I wasn't driving, at the Rand McNally Road Atlas, which every wrestler carried in their car and still should. I don't see it $9.95 at any truck stop in America. You'll never get lost. And I was just looking at, oh, this used to be a great territory. Boy, they had TV here, 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 and here, and they'd do matches there. And I was looking at all the territories in the United States as we would go to these places. I carried even if we flew somewhere and had a rental car, I still carried a Rand McNally with me so we'd know how to get around. And at the same time, I also noticed that while WCW's business was fucking tanking in the arenas almost everywhere. Every time we would go to Knoxville, Tennessee, there would be a big crowd at Civic Coliseum, and it was old-time wrestling fans, and they enjoyed the matches much more than most places, and they cheered the baby faces and booed the heels. It was a pleasant experience to go and wrestle in Knoxville for WCW. And I got started looking, and I said, well, fuck. I said, Knoxville, right across the mountains, 140 miles, is Asheville, North Carolina. And then it's right up from Johnson City, where just a few years before we had done a $100,000 house at the Great American Bash 86. And, well, it's right up the road from Chattanooga, that had a great wrestling tradition. And I started visually in my mind putting a territory together. Inexpensive arenas in mid-sized markets, with television stations that had histories of carrying wrestling that even if you had to pay might be somewhat inexpensive. Wasn't trying to get on TV in LA or New York or whatever, Chicago, which would just be ludicrous, which is why everybody tried to do that lost all their fucking money quickly. And that's okay. So all these things started coming together. If I'm going to do a territory and I've got a financial backer, and I see a place where there's still a lot of wrestling fans and they seem willing to come out and even watch this horse shit that WCW has given them, where there'd be 5, 6, 7 substitutions on every fucking card. It seems like Knoxville might be. And because I'm living in Charlotte currently, it would be close for me to come over here and try to set some things up. And also I knew the Sandy Scott, who at WCW had just fucked him, but he had been running Greenville, South Carolina for Crockett for years. Greenville, South Carolina, in 1986, grossed over $700,000 for like 40 wrestling events at the Greenville Memorial Auditorium. And Sandy knew all those promoters, or all those building managers, and had been, running events, knew how to check up tickets and et cetera. And he knew some TV station people up in Roanoke, which wasn't far away. So I knew Sandy was willing to go in on this venture. I'd talked to him about it. So it just seemed like everything was leaning toward we should do something in Knoxville. And then the fateful day came. We're in Gainesville, Georgia, at the Georgia Mountain Center for a WCW TV taping. And I didn't realize that this was This was summer or fall of 1990. I didn't realize that me and Stan Lane were going to walk out at the end of October. I assumed we were there in WCW through the following April when our contracts would expire, and then we were going to be done. Because we had tried to leave the previous April, and all the agents and fucking everybody, Jim Ross, everybody on the booking committee, they all outvoted Jim Hurd and demanded that he renew me in the Midnight Express. And when Wahoo McDaniel told us about it we walked in the Norfolk Scope one night, and Wahoo said, hey, we had a big meeting in Atlanta and we all overruled Hurd, and they've signed you for another year. And me and Stan started throwing our fucking bags down and goddamn it, kicking shit. And Bobby was just like, what the fuck? Because Bobby didn't get that upset. But we knew we had to take the money because we didn't want to split up. And Bobby had a family. We were looking forward to leaving. So we were there, right? So anyway, Gainesville, Georgia. Everybody's miserable working for WCW at the time. And Tim Horner knew how miserable I was and came over and whispered to me, hey, I just wanted to let you know, I've got a backer in Knoxville. Because he's from Morristown, Tennessee, 30 miles away, right? That was his hometown. I got a backer in Knoxville. He's willing to spend up to $40,000 to start a wrestling promotion. And I want to know if you might be interested in working some dates for us when y'all leave. And now I'm like, oh, fuck. Because $40,000 wouldn't do 2 good TV tapings, right? You knew that, and I knew that. At the time, I didn't realize that Tim Horner just wanted to run his hometown so he could be a big fucking deal in fucking Morristown, right? And they were going to get some half-ass mud show, outlaw fucking TV show shot for, however much. And then they were going to fucking put it on the air, and it was going to last 2 months, maybe. And it was going to muddy the water. And if they tried to run shows, that was going to muddy the water. And it was going to piss some people off in Knoxville to the point where when a real promotion came in and wanted to do a territory, not just run a single market and headquarter in Knoxville, that there was going to be bad feelings about local pro wrestling, right? So I'm thinking, what the fuck? I didn't want to let anybody in on this because the only people that knew were me and the Midnight Express, Sandy Scott, and Rick Rubin. But I said, before he does this, and I didn't want him to lose somebody's money, some innocent guy, but I was more concerned with he's going to fuck this up for everybody because, A, Tim Horner couldn't run a fucking wrestling promotion. He couldn't book Lassie in a fucking pet shop. $40,000 was no fucking money, just enough, as my mother used to say, to piss people off. He was going to get a bunch of those other local mud show people involved, like a fucking Terry Landell or whoever else, and it was going to be bad. So I decided to take him over in the corner and spill the beans. And I said, Tim, I will figure you in because you're a hometown boy in Morristown. I never dreamed. Later on, I found out he thought he was actually going to be like the champion and be like the guy, the baby face. Which the problem was Tim Horner couldn't look in the fucking mirror and see what all these, question askers saw. I said, I will figure you in as a local hometown babyface and you can work in the office with me and Sandy because you look great in a suit and you can go and talk to these people. You live there. You can talk their language. You can try to get us some sponsors and you'll be on the shows and you'll do a variety of things for us. Don't fucking go through with this because that money ain't going to last. And we've got a lot more bigger plans coming up. And he said, okay. And he couldn't go to New York because of when he had worked there as an underneath guy. He had sued Vince and there was heat there. And, WCW was about to get rid of him if he wasn't going to walk out to begin with because he didn't want to be there and they didn't particularly want him. That's why they were just using him underneath. The only thing I disagree with about the question asker was Tim's work was okay. He was a good, solid, middle card babyface that could do the right things and had some timing and some experience. So he was good for bringing new guys in who were going to be on top like Chris Candido and settling them down and teaching them how to work Southern style or whatever. And no, he couldn't talk. But at the time, if you put a baby face on, on your card and he wasn't getting interviews, then he was nobody. So I had to give him some fucking time on TV to talk. And goddamn, it was not the fucking shining light of Smoky Mountain Wrestling television. But anyway, he was a local guy that lived there. We could depend on, I thought, and I figured would know his place and would be more concerned with being involved in the office and seeing the promotion get over rather than being the big star, which I found out later was not the case. And then over a period of time, goddamn the baby faces would fucking call me. Ricky Morton called me one night. Tracy Smothers was going to beat the fuck out of him. He was always making snide comments because nobody wanted to buy his fucking foam lightning bolts. So he'd see the rock and roll making thousands of dollars a night on gimmicks in the big shows and hundreds of dollars a night on the spot shows while he was over there sitting with all his fan club by himself. And he'd say, well, we're pretty soon the office is going to be taking that gimmick money away from you. And they'd call me up and go, what the fuck? And I'd say no. Or if he was the guy that was supposed to give the finishes on the babyface side, he just had that annoying shit sniffing look on his fucking little goddamn redneck fucking face. That it pissed people off. So I was always having to field phone calls. He's pissing the baby faces off in the locker room, except for Tony Anthony. He was best friends with the dirty white boy. So Tony and the Armstrongs, they didn't mind him because they were friends from way back because he was partners with Brad. But every other baby face wanted to fucking kill him. That shameless thing was because at Tennessee Production Center, who was doing our TV, which, by the way, he found that production company, which I had to undergo a ton of fucking goddamn incompetence from them and fucking lackluster performance and et cetera, but we didn't have the money to go with the big production company in Knoxville at the time, of which there was basically two. They also did audio. They did audio music recordings for local bands and artists. And he fancied himself somehow that he could fucking sing. So they did that tape where he did Shameless, and we put it on the air because I thought, well, goddamn, it's better than one of his promos. And it shows that one of our baby faces has talent. And I was just trying to dress the fucking TV show up with some different kind of shit. And believe me, when Rick Rubin saw that episode, he was like, why is Tim Horner singing? Because here's the guy's working with Mick Jagger and fucking Johnny Cash, the biggest music stars in the business. I'm like, well, he was really, it meant a lot to him, Rick. It was a big deal to him. And he said, maybe you could have showed 30 seconds of it. I said, in hindsight, yes, that's what we should have done. But and there was the time where I put him in a program with Tony Anthony, the dirty white boy, the Smoky Mountain champion, our top heel, basically to get Tony over, because I knew that I had Tracy Smothers coming in, and that was going to be the money, because Tracy could really get over, and he did. So I put him in a program, and to give Horner an out, as people who have been watching, and I know Mike Mills, the Book in the Territory podcast and Smoky Mountain podcast, he's probably seen this already. To give Horner an out, we did a disputed decision where he kind of won the belt, but really, I can't remember, Tony's foot was on the ropes or something else had happened or whatever. So he had the belt until TV, and then he had to give it back. Bob Armstrong was going to come out and say, hey, as the commissioner, hey, fair is fair, show the tape. You really didn't win, Tim. I know you wouldn't want to take it this way, that type of thing. You know what I'm saying, right? And he'd give the belt back, have to give the belt back to Tony, and then Tony and Ron Wright would crow about it. Well, you know what he did? There was this kid, and I can't remember the young man's name, but he was a special needs kid that was a big fan, and we used to have a lot of the guys go and visit him or give him stuff or make over him. And Tim, because he was local there, and I think he's the one who found him, he knew the kid and his family. And on the TV, it was supposed to be Tim go out there and cut a promo with the belt, but Bob come out, show the tape, and say, I'm sorry, I've got to return this belt to the dirty white boy. Tim had the fucking special needs handicapped kid in his arms, and the kid was holding the fucking belt. And Bob Armstrong, the commissioner, the biggest babyface, the guy who really was going to draw money, had to take the belt not from Tim Horner, but from the little crippled kid in his arms. And Bob came back, and I thought he was going to beat me up. I've never seen Bob Armstrong so fucking mad. And Bob Armstrong's been mad a few times. And I didn't know this was going to happen. I was watching it as it happened, like everybody else was. I'm like, what the fuck? And he just kept doing shit like that. We put that fucking Horner in charge of starting a wrestling school for extra fucking income for the company. And I think he trained two guys. I won't even mention their names and embarrass them now, but he trained two guys, and that went nowhere. Horner was in charge of the merchandise. And even though we were doing well with VHS tapes being mailed all across the country for people who couldn't get the show, and T-shirts and stuff at the arena, somehow merchandise just never really took off until I fired Horner's ass and gave it to Hildebrand, and all of a sudden every month he was giving me a nice check. Because he knew what the fuck he was doing, and he was applying himself, and he probably wasn't dipping. And of course, then Horner, he found this girl that used to work at the radio station in Morristown. Said, oh, she can sell our sponsorship. She's the sales girl for Fuck You in Morristown radio, right? Okay, how much does she want? So he got her a job. And she, you know how many sponsorships she sold, Brian?
I have an idea.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking dick. Nothing. But she was doing stooge work that at least was taking, burden off of me and Sandy. So I was only paying her a couple $100 a week or whatever the fuck it was back then, because that's what she's making at the radio station. Nothing. But then Tim was friends with old Buzz Lacey, old Buzzy, the fucking bank manager at the bank in Morristown. And it seemed that the bank had an office open in the bank building there. We get for only a couple $100 a month. I said, why do we need an office? She can work from her house. And old Pam was like, well, I just feel like if I have somewhere to get up and go to every week or every day, that I instead of being sitting around the house here, that I'll be more productive. Well, so we rent an office for this fucking girl to sit in and do stooge work that she could have done from her house. I think it was because Horner was fucking her on the side and they wanted a place that I was paying for so he could go and fucking fuck her, is what I think, because nothing else ever productive ever came out of that goddamn building. So finally, then I got Rick Rubin constantly saying, why the fuck is Tim Horner on my television? And I'm trying to say, because he's supposed to be doing all these things. And he said, well, is he doing any of them? I said, not very well. So then I took him off then I made him Kendo the Samurai, where he could fucking work under a fucking hood just to get Tim Horner off the cards, right? Then finally I said, Tim, because then he was going to have a baby. His wife was pregnant. And his wife, by the way, told him everything to fucking do. One time I said, well, you and Tony, you get some juice and then you make a comeback. And he said, well, Allison doesn't want me to get color. I said, what? His wife didn't want him to do blade. I've got a top baby face, supposedly in a Tennessee territory, that his wife won't let him bleed. I'm fucking cutting my fucking head, right? And I'm paying this motherfucker, and the backer is complaining about him. He ain't producing shit. And he's a pain in the ass to most of the other baby faces he's in the locker room with, and his wife won't let him get juice. This is all building, right? So then they're going to have a baby. So then I take him off the fucking cards. I say, tell you what, Tim, I'm going to pay you a weekly salary. You don't even have to wrestle. You don't even have to go to these towns. All you got to do is run the merchandise and expand the wrestling school and fucking get some sponsorships. Put a suit on. Go talk to some people. Get us some spot shows. Promote some spot shows. Do all these. Do something, basically, is what I'm giving him the opportunity for, right? And I bet you, and I'll go through, when I go through the records for the books, for 3 or 4 months, I pay him like $400 a week at the time to do that shit, to try to get something out of him. Nada. Ain't nothing happening. I ain't getting my money back. So finally they have the baby. And I said, Tim, I'm going to take you off the weekly salary and I'm going to put you back on the cards and you're going to get paid per shot. And it's going to be about the same thing, because we're running 3 times a week at minimum. So some weeks you might make more, but at least you'll be wrestling again, because this other stuff ain't working out. I said this will start like at the end of July for 1st of August. So at the end of July, I quit paying him his weekly check, and I start putting him on the per night. Well, it worked out that whatever the end of the week was, or the end of the month was, and the beginning of the next month, at the end of the month is when we ran fewer shows, because the goddamn the checks didn't come out till the first of the month, et cetera, et cetera. That's old wrestling rule of thumb. So the first week that he goes back on the per night for wrestling instead of the weekly guarantee, we only had 1 or 2 shows. So no, he made about half his fucking weekly salary I'd been paying him for the previous 3 or 4 months to do fuck all or nothing. And in Morristown, Tennessee, at the East High School, which is the only good thing he ever did for us, he got us the East High School because he was friends with the fucking principal, and we drew some really nice houses there. Guess what happens? His wife, who controls his fucking life and won't let him bleed and tells him what to do with the baby that they've just had in her arms, comes up and yells at me because I actually had gone up to Tim and said, we're short. It's the end of the month. It's a Saturday night. These guys are all going back to Nashville or wherever they fucking live. We're paying them. And you come see me Monday morning and I will give you your money out of my pocket because that way everybody's taken care of. Right? She comes up and yells at me in front of all the boys, saying that I should pay Tim first because he was so important around there. And she's screaming at me while she's holding a baby in her fucking arms in front of the boys. So I went and told Tim, I said, Tim, your wife just yelled at me and I didn't say what I should have said to her because she's holding a baby in her goddamn arms, but I need to talk to you and where it's going to be on the phone tomorrow, Sunday afternoon. And we're at that point, I tried to go home and cool off, but the more that I thought about it, the hotter I got. So on that Sunday afternoon, when I called him on the phone, I said, Tim, we got an issue. He said, yeah, we sure do. He said, you got me this week on my money. And that was it. I said, no, motherfucker, you've got me the past year and a half on my money. I'm trying to pay you out of my fucking pocket so these other guys can go back to Nashville and have their fucking money or whatever. And you've been riding this gravy train for fucking I don't know how long now, so we can't do this anymore. He said, what do you mean? I said, I mean, you're done. What? You're fucking done. So I fired his ass. Then guess what else happened? I found out that, because he was friends with Buzz Lacey, the major domo of the bank in Morristown, when we had bought a ring truck, he had taken the loan out to buy the ring truck because he said Buzz gave him a great deal. So the ring truck that he found for us, because I admitted I knew nothing about trucks and cars and engines and berthing things like that and such, right? I said, Tim, go out and find us a good quality used fucking moving truck that we can transport this ring in. We'll save a fortune from having to pay all these other fuckers to do this and renting the truck and blah, blah, blah. So he found us a truck for $8,000. We took out the loan to pay for it, and we went through three engines in a year and a half in that fucking lemon truck that he found for us. And it was still fucking broke down up on blocks somewhere awaiting the third engine when I fired his worthless ass. So not only had I been taking money from the goddamn Smoky Mountain Wrestling events from our income and giving it to Sandy Scott every month so that Sandy Scott could turn around and give it to Tim to pay the fucking note on the truck and getting a receipt for it. But come to find out, when Sandy went to find out the whereabouts of the broken down truck so that we could and fucking figure out what to do with the truck, found out he stole our truck. He stole the $8,000 lemon truck because he had been paying the fucking loan that he'd taken out in his name, and we just never bothered to check. So we paid for a goddamn truck that was sitting up on blocks and two engines, and Tim Horner ended up with it, and whatever the fuck happened to it, I have no idea. Also, when I gave Brian Hildebrand, Mark Curtis, the merchandise fucking concession, I said, go over to Horner's and get all the merchandise and get the fax machine. Because here's another thing. When we first started the business, before we'd even been on TV on day one, I went to the Office Supply in fucking Knoxville, me and Sandy, and I bought Sandy Scott a fax machine because those things were big in those days. And I bought a fax machine for me because I needed to be faxing stuff to the production company and to different places. And Sandy needed to fax things to the spot show sponsors and contracts to the buildings. And goddamn, Tim found out about it, and Sandy came to me and said, Tim wants to know why he doesn't have a fax machine. We hadn't even started the business yet. I said, what does he need? Well, he's just, his feelings are hurt because we got him and he didn't get one. I said, what the? So $400 is what they cost then. We got him a fax machine, right? I told Hildebrand, I said, go get the goddamn fax machine because you'll need that for merchandise. Horner kept the fax machine. He gave Hildebrand the merchandise. He wouldn't give him the fax machine. So Tim Horner, if you're listening to me, you fucking redneck, cousin fucking, chicken fucking, hillbilly, goddamn East Tennessee outlaw mud show piece of shit. You stole my goddamn $8,000 ring truck. You stole my $400 fax machine. You stole about 2 years of employment that you didn't deserve, all because I was loyal and trying to keep my word to somebody that I thought was worth a shit, and I found out that I was right. That's exactly what you were worth. Shit. So there's the story on Tim Horner.
I have one follow-up question.
You really do?
At any point, did you ever find out who he was or meet the $40,000 mystery money man?
No. Because that was probably all bullshit, too, because that was probably Horner being the gullible fucking country hillbilly fuck that he was, probably listening to somebody that was talking out of both sides of his neck, as Butch Reed would say. And you know, and besides the $40,000 he was going to start the wrestling promotion with, we drew that in one night when we got Knoxville going and did the big show like Night of Legends or Sunday Bloody Sunday or the Super Bowl or whatever. And Tim quickly saw that he was in over his fucking head, because if he was a genius enough to fucking run a successful wrestling promotion with $40,000 in seed money, when he got the chance to get involved with something that was actually financed and on fucking broadcast television, he fell on his ass and shit on himself like a goddamn newborn baby.
We know that a lot of the boys, a lot of the baby faces who were selling gimmicks had issues with him. What was the general mood around the company and in the locker room after you fired Tim Horner?
I don't think Tony Anthony was happy about it, and nobody else missed him, and few people were happy he was fucking gone. I never had anybody after you should have seen the faces when his wife was yelling at me, and she was about, I would say 95 pounds and as big around as my little finger. When she was yelling at me while holding their baby, and I was standing there, and Horner, because his balls are so small, if you took them and you rolled them both at a fucking drinking straw, it looked like you rolling 2 kernels of corn into a storm drain. He was standing back letting her do that. They knew the jig was up then. They didn't know how quickly and in what manner it would transpire.
Have you ever run into him or seen him again? Has he been at any fan fests or anything?
As a matter of fact, he was at the Charlotte Fan Fest this past year, and I saw Bobby Fulton talking to some fucking fat, out of shape. And this is by 94 is when I fired him. So 22 years later, Bobby Fulton is across the room talking to some fat, out of shape, fucking gray-haired redneck. So okay, that's some fan fucking talking to Bobby Fulton. I go over to say something to Bobby, and he turns around, and there's fucking Horner. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I said, "Pah!" And I blew snot and walked away from him. He's not even mad. He's been in the same place a couple of times as I have, but he's not man enough to come up and give me my money that he stole back from me. And I've told people, and then after I fired him, he told people around Morristown, Tennessee, that the reason he wasn't involved in Smoky Mountain Wrestling anymore was because he sold his interest because he was getting out of wrestling. He was getting out of wrestling because nobody wanted to use his fucking worthless ass, and he didn't sell shit because he never owned shit. He was there on a favor job that he couldn't do properly.